So thanks to Ubisoft, I got to play Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. And after my 3-hour session was over, it became my most anticipated game of 2024. Which is great because it's coming out next month. While playing this demo, there were 8 details that left an impression on me. Namely, the fact that you don't need to know anything about previous Prince of Persia games to understand what's happening here. I haven't played any of the games myself, and I did not feel lost playing the first 3 hours of The Lost Crown, as it's basically set in its own timeline. Players are put into the shoes of Sargon, one of the 7 members of the Immortals warrior clan. And though there is a Prince of Persia in this game named Hassan, he comes off as a more stereotypical prince with no known combat abilities.
Sargon, the Rashabar, the black wind that destroys all in his path.
I didn't choose that name.
You need not worry. I do not attach any importance to these superstitions.
Here he gets kidnapped, and it's up to Sargon and the Immortals to save him from a place called the Old Citadel, in which time moves unpredictably. What may seem like hours for Sargon, it turns out to be days for his comrades, and this makes for some interesting story moments that I won't spoil here. For now, let's get to the game itself, specifically the robust combat system, as there's a lot more to it than just mashing the attack button. Enemy blows can be parried, red-coded attacks have to be dodged, and once an opponent turns yellow, that leaves them open to a vengeful counter that will kill them instantly or greatly reduce a boss's health bar. This move saved my skin a few times during those challenging encounters. Even when I thought I figured out all the mechanics, I soon unlocked a practice arena where I was taught more techniques like how to dropkick enemies and launch them in the air. I wanted to keep learning these new moves until the Ubisoft rep I was with told me to move it along for the sake of time, which is understandable. Still, what little I learned from those lessons helped me greatly in the demo, because Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is a very difficult but fair game. Playing on the normal difficulty, I died about 20 times, and that was mainly due to the large bosses that were quick and powerful. It took some time for me to learn their attack patterns via trial and error, and it was worth it just to see their health bars reach 0. These few bosses never felt overly punishing or unfair, but still challenging enough that I felt so much relief once I defeated them. Even still, the regular ground troops put up quite a fight, especially in ambushes with 3 or 4 enemies. Taking on this amount can be terrifying, since their counterable attacks aren't projected ahead of time like in Metroid Dread or the Batman Arkham games, so I really had to pay attention to survive. Luckily, these encounters, though difficult at times, are incredibly fun thanks to the game's smooth and fluid controls. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown just feels great to play, both when fighting enemies and traversing the environment. Combat is punchy and responsive, and I felt every time I successfully landed a blow or counter. Movement controls are also fluid, with parkour skills like wall jumping, sliding under obstacles, swinging on poles, and I later unlocked a power that let me air dash, useful in combat scenarios as well as getting across wide gaps that were impeding my progress. That brings me to my next topic. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is a 2D Metroidvania with RPG elements. Yes, if you're a fan of Metroid Dread like me, you should definitely keep your eyes on this game. The whole world is interconnected, having players revisit areas time and time again after unlocking new abilities. Once I got that air dash power, I was able to get further in the story by going across a large gap with that ability. Classic Metroidvania rules, and the games in this genre are also known for their puzzles, with The Lost Crown being no exception. One of these puzzles had me line up poles on a water wheel so I could swing to a door switch, and another one had me use a boomerang device called a chakra that bounces off walls to get past a timed elevator challenge. None of these puzzles were particularly difficult, but this was the first 3 hours of the game, so it's not like they were going to be that hard. The Lost Crown is not purely a Metroidvania though, as there are RPG-like side quests given by NPCs that reward other items such as tree petals that increase health. At least that was what I got after completing only one side quest in the demo, where I had to find the corpse of this soldier's fallen comrade. I did initiate another side quest that requires collecting insignias placed all throughout the map, but there was no way I was going to finish that in a short amount of time. Thankfully, I was able to go through the map quicker thanks to the fast travel system. It works via these portals that take you to other ones placed throughout the map, much like the teleport stations in Metroid Dread. I didn't unlock these portals until the last hour of my play session, so until then I was a bit concerned that this game wasn't going to have a fast travel method, as the Lost City area I was in was quite large. Having to backtrack through there constantly would have grown tiresome, and the existence of these fast travel portals seemed to imply that the full map is going to be quite huge. And if the map is that large and the side quests are plentiful, then it's no surprise that the game will take around 20 hours to complete, as Ubisoft informed me during this session. Of course, this might vary depending on if players focus mainly on the story instead of the side quests, but given how challenging those bosses and combat encounters are, I'm for sure going to take on as many extra objectives as I can in order to get more health and afford upgrades to my weapons. Which reminds me, there are various ways to upgrade gear via the shops. A god named Kahiva will improve weapons at her forge, increasing their damage output, and she sells amulets that give stats boosts, like increased arrow damage. These amulets can also be found in the game world, and one that activates a temporary health boost was given to me at the beginning. Only a select few amulets can be equipped at a time, but you can buy amulet holders to increase that amount. There are other shops like the Magi Emporium, and a kid named Fariba sold me a map so I could see all the undiscovered hallways of the area. And those are 8 things I learned playing Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and I enjoyed every second of my 3-hour playthrough. The combat and puzzles were fun thanks to the tight controls, and the Metroidvania gameplay is rewarding for those who like exploration in games. If the rest of The Lost Crown is as good as this, then 2024 is already going to have a major hit on its hands come January 18th when the game launches, and a demo is coming a week earlier on January 11th, so be sure to check that out if you're already interested. If you want more of my impressions though, then watch my preview discussion with Michael Damiani from Easy Allies. So until next time, bye bye!